Ready? Okay, 6 o'clock, folks, join me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
You are sitting in on the Town of Canandaigua Planning Board meeting of April 23rd. For those of folks that are online, it's not your computers that, if you can't see us, it's something at our end. We apologize for that, and probably you're all the better for not being able to see us. Let's see, we get some new people here. Let me introduce everyone at the table. Corinne Hatch is our recording secretary. Kim Burkett is our remote access facilitator. Tim Schneider, he's an alternate member, but he's moved up to active members tonight. We get Mark Tolbert, Scott Neal, Bob Course. I'm Chuck Euler, chairman. Kristen Smith, our zoning officer, Lance Freeman, representing the MRB, and our attorney, Chris Nadler. So we're gonna follow the agenda as published. If you didn't get an agenda, they're outside. Please sign in, make sure we have a record of your attending the meetings this evening. We will, if you want to address the board regarding a particular application, please come to the podium, give us your name and address, and you can then let us know either you're making a presentation on behalf of an applicant or you're asking questions if you're here regarding something in terms of comments and questions. If you have any major questions, or please keep your questions brief. If you have any questions of the board, do address them to us, not to the applicant. And with all that being said, I want to make sure that you're aware of the two exits that we have left and right. If for any reason we have to leave the room, please note where the exits are. And that brings us to our part of our agenda that we refer to as privilege of the floor. If anyone would like to address the board either here or online regarding an issue that is not on the agenda this evening, now's the time to do so. So does anyone have anything to ask the board regarding something that's not on the agenda? Okay, hearing none, let's move right on to the, I should also note that we have quite a few public hearings this evening. All those hearings were advertised in the Daily Messenger on April 16th. So since they've been advertised, let's move on to them. Our first new public hearing is CPN 23054. Randy Hauser owns property at 2872 State Route 21. Randy's applying for a special use permit to operate a dog grooming business in the on the property owner's home. Applicants requesting a waiver of our provision that we have a professionally prepared site plan. So, Randy, okay, let's step to the podium, and I think you can sort of give us briefly what you intend to do. I know you submitted a statement of operations as to what you intend to do out there. I have one question. Is it dogs or pets in general? Is it dogs, more than just dogs?
Most dogs, but cats. I've done nail trims on bunnies, exotics. And when it comes to grooming, the most common is dogs. So I say pet grooming. Most people bring dogs and cats.
Is that an issue in the wording of our special use permit, whether it be, it says just dogs, that you can't have anything other than dog?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
If based on her description just now, I mean, if somebody brought their rabbit to me to
Groom
it, I don't need a major home occupation. I mean, you're talking how many cats a month?
Oh goodness.
One?
No more, but it depends. I mean, cats come with, a lot of people will bring cats just for a nail trim. Other people will do like twice a year for a lion.
So it is more than just dogs.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, okay.
Yes.
I think we were under the impression, and I think that's where it was just dogs, but there are other pets involved, so. Our attorney said that it really isn't an issue, I just want
Well,
to make sure it's
I-
on the record and
Yeah.
clarified.
I don't think that's.
Okay. All right, so you are pending a septic inspection, right?
Yes, that should be done, the morning of the 30th, I
Okay.
think, next
And I
Tuesday.
think it was stated somewhere either by the inspector that the operation you have is not going to be a strain on your septic system that much.
Right. Right.
The volume and type of service you're providing. Board, have any questions? Everything's-
Just Monday through Friday, no weekends.
Typically, yes, that's what I wanted was Monday through Friday, but I mean, if it's allowed to be flexible, and I did once in a while want to open up a Saturday, I mean, if that's possible, but it's not really a big deal to me. I was most Monday through Friday mostly.
I think that's what your special permit, your statement of ops said, it was Monday through Friday. I think.
Yeah.
But it would seem like to me like Saturday would be sort of a busy day, people not working.
It would, but we, as a family, we like to do a lot of family stuff and, you know, we go camping and stuff like that, so. Yeah.
When I look at the site, I do get a bit concerned about the site view for going out. And you try to address that in your statement use. You've added turning around areas and things along those lines. I stopped there this weekend. It's a difficult driveway to navigate. So that's something that I would, assuming that things are approved, I think it's important that you do maintain that ability to keep the turnaround in place. But I think I'm concerned that you have a pull-out concern there no matter what.
So we do have plans, I mean, regardless if this does or does not get passed, when you pull up our driveway, you come to where our shed is, and then off to the side, on the side of the house, it's like 3-car parking. There's 2 really big maple trees right there, or walnut trees, I'm sorry. And we do have plans this spring to take those down, and we did want to extend a little bit, probably the stone driveway, make it a little bit bigger.
That wasn't clear to me, but when I read your statement, I interpreted it as that you've already created that turnaround area there, so that hasn't been done yet.
It's so, well, it's not an actual turnaround, but there's enough for 3 cars to park, back out or drive out. But in the future, yeah, my husband and I were talking about making the whole thing even bigger, for other plans down the road mostly, but it would help.
So there's an ability for people bringing their dogs, pets to be groomed, to pull out, not back out, but pull out front way
Yes, I don't.
without
ever
having to
rec-
back out on the 21.
Yes, I don't ever recommend anyone back out just because it is 21, but yeah, there's plenty of capability.
Is that your concern, Mark?
It is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I could see that would be a big concern.
Even pulling out, it's a little bit tight with your sight line to the left as you're pulling out, is a little bit, let's see. On the right, not the same.
Mhm.
So that's just what I noticed on site this weekend. I don't know if there's a. The building's close and you're on a radius.
So yes, when you're familiar with Sonnenberg Gardens, we're just as you enter the 40-mile-per-hour zone, just as a bend starts. So when you get to the end of our driveway, the whole left side, covering the house is all like lilac bushes and trees and stuff, and we plan. Every year we have to cut all those back, but we plan eventually getting rid of all of that and widening out the bottom. There's kind of a hill that drops. That doesn't interfere with any of the sites, but we want to just make it bigger and flatten it out more. Convenience and everything. Right now, if I was to start grooming, I only expect like probably 1 person an hour two tops, like if someone has to like leave a little bit longer than normal, so there's not much coming and going, mostly 1 hour.
Think that about what happens when people are passing.
What do you mean?
Get somebody coming in at the same time, somebody's trying to leave.
The driveway is big enough, just because we've had that done a handful of times, not with clients, but just people, like family and stuff. The driveway is big enough for one person to be going out and another to be coming in.
Okay. So we had, ECB had really had no comments on this application. Jim Fletcher had no comments. Mike Murphy, their CEO, had the septic inspection was something he wanted to make sure got done, and I think you have that as a condition. Yes, okay, right. NIDOT, Department of Transportation, since state road, they had no comments. Lance was good enough to include in the findings the standards for a major home occupation. I assume we've looked those over. Is there anything causes us concern regarding noise, pedestrian traffic, vehicular traffic, parking, lighting, aesthetics, trash, exterior displays? We don't have any signs, if I recall.
I didn't want to do that until I knew it was approved.
Yeah, that would have to be something you address
Yeah.
separately. And so, is there any concern on behalf of the board on that regard? No? Is anyone from the audience? Sir, you were going to raise your hand, but okay. Okay, we'll get to you.
I'll make a notion though that, or note that I didn't see any neighbor letters at all. All sort of negative on this.
I do have one neighbor letter. I could not get it to attach. This was also a while ago, months ago. I could not get it to attach, and I forgot about it. It's still in my email. If that is a must, I can definitely
Was
get
it
a
good?
hold of- Huh?
Was it good for you?
It was good for me. I used to groom the dog.
Oh,
Okay, I'll ask one more time. Anybody online want to address the board regarding this application? If not.
Wait, if I may,
Mhm.
the permit that seems like it's about to be granted will only allow you to groom dogs and cats on Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30 PM.
Okay.
Do you want to change that and ask for a different set of times?
I mean-
And the occasional weekend?
Honestly,
Yeah, you don't have to.
if I did, let's say I did, do I have to go through the whole process again? All right, we'll just leave, well, for now, because I have no intent on working at least anytime soon. I didn't know. Honestly, I just didn't know, so I'm
Take the weekend.
yeah.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to make sure so you weren't stuck.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, that's all.
Okay, so if there's no other discussion, I will close the hearing. Now we can move on to the paperwork in front of us. This is a regarding secret type 2 resolution, so it's very vanilla that way. And then we have the special use permit, and Ms. Hauser's requested a waiver of special plan, so we will not have a site plan. So someone want to take the seeker type 2 and the special use permit as provided for in our packet.
I'll make a motion to approve this secret type 2 resolution and a special use permit on CPN 23-054 at 2872 State Route 21 for a animal grooming major home occupation with the 5 conditions. standard conditions.
Resolution, and then one modification to the whereas, first paragraph on both resolutions. That's modified dog grooming to animal grooming.
Better.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. All right, further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, good luck. Thank you. That's it. Painless.
Well, thank you, everyone.
All righty, let's move on to our next hearing. This is Greg Moyer, Wide Waters Inc., I think it is, 3225 State Route 364. Requesting a special use permit for approval of commercial speech sign within the CC zoning district. I think this is affectionately the TJ Maxx Home Goods property. Is someone here representing the applicant?
Oh, Kelly looks like.
Kelly's, I see your lips moving, Kelly, but you're muted.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go. This is Kelly Wagner with Jones Sign.
Okay, Kelly, this is pretty cut and dry. I think the signs have met the standards of our zoning in terms of size. You have requested a waiver of a site plan. And that's been addressed in the resolutions before us. The county planning board had no recommendation regarding this application. And originally, I think it has a ZBA requirement, then they reduce the size. Okay, so there's no zoning board influence involved with this, so. Anybody in the audience have any questions on this? Everybody knows where TJ Maxx is. At least my wife does. Anybody else on the board? Nope.
No.
All right, we're gonna move right along, close the hearing, and similar to the last application, it's a secret type 2 with a special use permit, no site plan. So if someone could give me a motion?
Sure. I'll move to accept the secret type 2 resolution and special use permit for CPN 24012 at 3225 State Route 364 with, again, 5. No changes, Lynn?
No. I'll second that.
So we got the secret resolution and the 5 conditions, standard conditions that apply to commercial speech signs. And we got the right dimensions in the whereas. Yep, okay. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, thanks, Kelly, for tuning in.
Thank you. And I do have a question. Do we, as far as the process goes, we have to, our next step in to get the permit approval is,
That's such a tough question. I'll yield to our zoning officer.
You just need to submit a building permit application now. If
okay.
you haven't
that's-
already.
Okay,
And
fantastic.
then once
Thank you.
that's, once that's submitted, our code enforcement officer will do a review and reach out if he has any questions. That's the next step.
Okay, thank you for confirming. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Good night.
All right.
All
good
right,
luck.
next
Thank you.
hearing, CPN 24014, Marianne Miles. Owns property at 5770 Smith Road. Marianne would like to subdivide her 9.3 acre parcel into 2 lots. One 6.321 acres, the other being 3 acres. Marianne or someone representing her, oh,
I'm here.
right up front, you're here in person, thank you. Good evening. So, we have your application, we saw your plan. Anything you want to tell us that's unique about the property or that you're bringing to our attention?
No.
We can put the subdivision plan up, Kim. Right, best. Okay, so is your intent to eventually develop the 3 acres?
So no, to sell the 3 acres to a friend,
Sell it to a friend.
yeah, and then keep the other 6.3, da, da, da.
Mhm. Okay. Fair enough. Board? Any,
I have a question. Would it be possible at all to shift the driveway a little bit further to the west so that you could get a minimum of 610 feet of sight distance to the left? It's about 39 feet to
So-
move the driveway a little bit further that way to give more sight distance to the left.
On lot
If you're in the
2?
driveway,
You're talking the proposed lot 10?
The proposed lot.
Oh,
Just for clarification,
That was recommended by the surveyor.
yeah, I'm not saying that's not, this is schematic at this point. If the reason for is to document to the board that you could. I think maybe that's maybe it's a way we can put a note. If the board,
Oh, I
the applicant, or a note to the plans be added that suggests that if and when the site plan application be made. To improve upon the site distance, the driveway be relocated.
the driveway on the 3 acres.
think
Oh,
so,
sure.
yes.
I'm sorry, I was envisioning my driveway on the other side.
Move your driveway.
So, yeah, that would be
no, we're not gonna
fine.
do that.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
How is the site distance at your existing driveway? Down there, it doesn't. Is it, how's it coming out onto Smith Road?
So there's not much traffic,
I was
but
gonna say, there's not
you know, you do have to stop and really be cautious, look, yeah. Or I think because of the trees.
And there's a mound. You see people accelerate about 21 to get up to 24. And then when
Well, and it's an existing driveway, I mean.
Yeah, I think the
You're
only.
just asking for a subdivision to
Yeah.
create lot 2, that's essentially why you're here this evening.
Yes,
Um,
yes. Yeah, but if you can do anything about the speeders, that would be good too.
Put some speed bumps. Yeah, the ECB really had nothing of major concern, but they wanted to make sure that when the lot 2 is developed, that you try to preserve the tree line that you're showing there,
Oh, yeah,
okay?
yes.
So that you're not sticking the house too far to the left and you're not sticking it too far to the rear.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that was a concern of the ECB.
yeah, I would agree.
Existing lot 1 driveway site distance, I asked you about that.
That's the same.
Okay, note 10, is there note 10? It said there were no NRI features on this property. And I do think there. What was it? Well, wetlands, was there? Steep slopes. So I think that note doesn't really hold true. NRI's natural resource inventory features, floodplains, wetlands, heavy wooded areas, steep slopes. So if a property has that, we're cautious in terms of it being developed, that none of those, or they be minimized, that any encroachment on those features. So we just like to have it known upfront with the subdivision. So when you do sell the lot to your friends, that they're aware of some of the constraints they might have. And as I mentioned, the woods, certainly
Yes.
we'll protect that. I'm sure they
And
do
then-
too. And steep slopes are not, I'm sure they have no intent of building back there in the back. So, but again, going back to my original point, I think note 10 should be removed. Because there are natural resource features on the property.
Remove it or revise it to identify NRI features.
Well,
Or the NRI features pretty self-evident.
it's pretty obvious.
It was just a question, not a recommendation.
No. Good point. Good point. How's the board feel? You want to have the NRI features called out, or do you just want that note removed and worry about the NRI when the site plan?
That's what I was thinking. It would be more on the site plan later on, developing that plan. This is just dividing her land, so. That wouldn't be my thought.
Okay, so I think the note should be removed. Is that in agreement with everybody else? Okay, because there are. Okay, you got that, Lance?
Yeah, that's already suggested as a condition.
Oh,
No,
So,
you're way ahead of me. Aha, okay, so we get it covered. Any other concerns DCB had, Kim? Yeah,
No,
I-
it's subdivision, felt pretty good.
just make sure the tree line in terms of when it's developed.
There's like probably in a stream down behind the salts,
Okay.
preserving trees.
All right, I think, anybody in the audience want to address the board regarding this application? Variance subdivision, 2 lots down Smith Road. If not, is the board ready to close the hearing? I am. Okay, we'll close it. And we'll move on to, this is a unlisted action because it's a subdivision. And, let's do that first. I'll make that motion. I'll make a motion that we have reviewed and discussed this application in regards to a seeker resolution. And we find it's is listed as unlisted action. There's no detriment to the environment, and we have provided a part 2 and 3 regarding an impact assessment to cover that. So that's my motion. On second. Okay, I have a second. Further discussion on the seeker, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's move on to the subdivision itself. Someone give me a motion regarding this 2 lot subdivision.
I'll make that motion to approve a single stage subdivision plat at 5770 Smith Road, CPN 24-014. With the,
I have a total of 5, so I just want to clarify, number 3, there is a stream, a Hoover stream along the property line. Again, doesn't impact the subdivision, but it would potentially impact the future site plan application. So we're just asking that as part of the updates to the plat, that a dimension of 100 foot, which is a requirement of town, be shown in the plat, just so that in future applications, it's carried throughout. So that's condition 3. Condition 4 was the note that Tim referenced about the driveway, the schematic driveway location, but more importantly, a note be added to the plans that says at the time of a site plan application, that driveway be located further to the west to provide the greatest extent possible site distance looking both ways. And then 5 is, I just noticed with the application that I didn't see the short EAF part 1, which is why I only provided you guys the part 2. I
Yeah, I was
did put
wondering
it
about
in
that.
cloud permit. I did fill one out. There was nothing detrimental to the application. Otherwise, I would have referenced it earlier, but I'm just suggesting as part of the conditions that prior to signatures, just that short EAF be provided by the applicant, and then that would complete the seeker. For you guys.
with the 5 conditions.
Your surveyor can do that.
Okay.
How about the park and rec fee? Do we usually apply that at subdivision?
Yes.
Because you're creating a new lot, I mean. We'll eventually get it with the building permit, so.
We
No.
noted.
You have
It's
not
gonna
if
be-
you don't do it now.
Oh. Yeah, I agree.
Not
Yeah.
if- yeah, I mean, you could theoretically do it at site plan, but it's more appropriate.
Okay, so that would be conditions. All right,
I'll second that with the 6th condition.
okay, further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you're good. Thanks for coming out.
Wow, Lance. Pretty bad. Hey, put them though.
Okay, let's move on to our 4th hearing. CPN 24017. Doug DeGraw representing the FLX Marine out on 332. Requesting a special use permit for a commercial speed sign in the CC zoning district, the 70 square feet on the front of the building, which has 70 feet of linear frontage. So 70 square feet of sign and 70 feet of frontage. It all adds up. So I'll open the hearing. Is someone here?
Myself, Doug is not here. I am here and as the general manager, and one of the owners is here, Bernie DeGraw.
Oh, okay. Welcome.
Thank you.
So basically, you want to put a sign in the front of the building. You have that freestanding sign, which unfortunately is so far back in the road.
Correct.
I can see the need for another sign. We've certainly, we're looking at the sign now. I think according to our zoning determination, it meets all the size requirements. And no lights, no flashing lights, no backlights. It's a daytime sign, right?
Correct.
Okay. Anybody on the board have any questions on the sign at FLX? No. Okay, anybody in the audience? Okay, I will close the public hearing. Let me just check my notes. Secret type 2, we got county planning board had no recommendations. You are requesting a waiver from especially site plan, prepared site plan, and that is in the resolution.
Right.
Okay, so let's move on. Since it's a type 2 seeker, let's combine it with the special use permit for FLX.
I'll move to accept the seeker type 2 for CPN 24017 at 2151 State Road 332, as well as the site plan with our 5 conditions.
Okay. Got a motion and a second from Tim. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for coming out, Carla.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Next hearing. CPN 2424. Peter Brew, German Brothers Marina, North Street, Canandaigua, special use permit for a commercial outdoor storage of boats and boat accessories. I assume that includes trailers. I will open the hearing. Greg, are you here representing Peter?
Yes, I am. Peter may be joining us in the next 15 minutes or so, but I'll take it from here. So we are requesting similar request that we made last year. And we would like to gain the approval from you on it. There was a change in that there is a now an area for boat and trailer, so the boat sits on a trailer for storage. In that case, they would be covered in canvas or saran wrap or whatever else we have out there to deal with that. And they may be there year round. But besides that, it's the same program as before. There's one addition that we gave at the review a few weeks ago, and that was the setback from County Road 30. As Chuck knows, I volunteered to make that 100 feet versus 60, which was a law.
Okay. So you're just extending your current, or well, the one that expired in December
That's correct.
for another till the end of this December?
Well, we'd like to talk about that also.
Okay, we can talk about it, yeah.
So every year to come forward, you know, it's a work for you guys, it's work for us, it's cost for us, it's work for you guys. So, you know, if conditions don't change, I would prefer not to go, have to come in each year.
Well, I think that's the issue. I think conditions will change regarding the site. if you want something longer than a temporary. Now, I think if I recall, and we pulled the resolution up from last year, and it was a temporary permit expiring December
Right,
31st, which, to our understanding, there are boats out there now. I mean, there are trailers out there now.
Yep.
You know, so, you know, the rush has begun, I guess, as far as the boats and the trailers. We also, at that time, and it was clear in the minutes that if this became, and I think at the time, Peter was looking to possibly move his whole operation out there at some point. And what you were asking for was just something to sort of get you periodically renewed, so you could get to that point when he does decide to move his maintenance operations out there, including buildings, that could occur. But now it sounds like it's going beyond just 1 year. It's going to 2 years. I mean, we're into the second year. And I think in our discussions last year, we said that if this thing becomes repetitive and we continue to do this, we've got to start looking at some of the provisions in our code regarding landscaping, berming, driveway improvements, that it's just not a temporary thing anymore, that this thing is becoming more permanent.
Ground itself.
Yeah, the ground itself is a surface, I think.
It's in the floodplain right there now.
Yeah, and I guess that's another discussion. We get to talk about the floodplain, because that's obviously an issue that.
let me address that first.
Sure.
Okay, so the floodplain, we identified that has been a preliminary determination. It's preliminary. It's not actionable. Okay. They're not gonna force us to say, oh, we gotta do this, this, and this. They just, as a courtesy, you know, the parties that delivered that news, it came to us from Mike Murphy.
Mhm.
We said, thank you very much. And we'll be working on some solutions. So Chuck, I'm actually gonna go back on my word. I think maybe it's fine we do a 1 year. Okay, because we're gonna have some changes next year too, right? With the floodplain. That's reality. Right.
So the floodplain is not a floodplain now, but it will be next year?
Well, it's a preliminary.
Determination by FEMA, right? Yeah.
Right, but the bottom line is that there's no control yet by them or the town by that, because it's preliminary. It's just what they think they're gonna do. It's not what they're gonna do. That's the way I read it, okay?
So now we're back to, you're asking for a,
Well,
Special
it's
use
easy for you
permit.
guys, then we can do it once a year. Okay, $100 isn't gonna kill us.
well, how's the board feel on the site?
Actually, I think at this point that we need to talk about the improvements and the shrubbery and burning that needs to happen anyways. We've got a neighbor letter that has voices that can turn on access on the roadway.
Two doors down, let's be clear, okay, he's a competitor, okay? And the accident he reported in his letter was that our driver making a right-hand turn down into the parking area, and he got clipped.
I guess my point is that it's clear that the intent is to continue to use this in operation like this from now and in the future. So I'd suggest that we get those things taken care of now.
So you don't want to have it every year.
I'm fine with it being every year. That's not the, I'm suggesting that we still need to move forward with the berming and the driveway improvement. So and then if necessary, it continue every year because there's the feel of the need for annual review on it. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, both, requiring both.
At our PRC meeting this month with Chuck in the room, we talked about, you know, vegetation or trees or bushes, whatever. And then I reminded him it's an industrial site. And you go to County Road 10, there is no berms for anything for Sager nor Sutters.
But there is, there's a tree line there.
What's that?
On Sutters, there's a tree line planted.
Not in the front.
Along the roadway.
Around the long roadway there is.
Yeah, they must replace those trees.
They did.
3 or 4 times.
Today.
I mean, they're there and they've been trying to keep them alive, and
The road,
It's
I
a-
mean, the code is pretty simple.
The code,
It
yeah.
says
It's-
outdoor storage.
It's
your
not
little
the
berm
fact that
control.
it's industrial, Greg, it's the fact that it's got a code provision regarding the parking of boats and trailers. And it's a specific to section 220-43, and I mean, we could go so far as require landscaping to the right and the left too, but I think we agreed, and I still agree that given the nature of the neighbors being, similar to your operation, that we do not require landscaping there, but I think we are concerned about the frontage. And I think we're also concerned that if this thing is ramping up from, it was 142 trailers only this year. Now you're asking for 150 trailers and 25 boats. I mean, it gets to a point that I think some of these other improvements have to be considered. And I think, what Mark's saying, and I think what the board's saying is now's the time we have to do that.
It's not really temporary anymore. It was temporary for a year. Going to the second year, then it's not temporary. It's more or less permanent.
Yeah,
Is this
right.
comment in the ECP's minute that the planning board said that a berm would be required if they
Not
come
the
in?
planning board,
But in the ECP's
ECB said it.
comment
ECB, birds
says
and
that the
shrubs.
planning board said that a berm and landscaping for screening would be required when they came back for reapplication. Is that accurate?
That's what we said.
I don't believe so.
That's what we
No,
said.
I just read it today in the minutes.
Past minutes?
The minutes from the last time we granted you the
The gauntlet.
special use permit.
Greg, I'll also say, I take offense that, two things. There's trailers there now without having permission, and there's been trailers past December. I mean, past the time when you're supposed to be cleared out of there. That's twice now that you parked there without permission, basically. I take offense to that. So, just wanted to let you know that.
What was the trailers that were there? How many?
Well, you don't have a permit to allow the storage of trailers there now,
Past December 1st, right?
right? And you have parked right now
I'm talking
today.
about the prior one last year.
They were there late. They never got pulled
That was
out.
one.
There was one in one boat, actually, I remember, way in the back on a trailer. I took a picture of it. I have it somewhere.
I'm sure.
Yeah. But I mean, it was that, and the other day I went by and there's multiple trailers out there now. Probably well within the 100-foot mark that you had stated. They're pretty
Okay.
close to the road.
I think there's also a concern that as boats get added to that, there's anything that comes off of those. So what's the plan to mitigate any runoff that comes off of those boats from leaking fluids and things?
Exactly.
Well, they're both gonna be canvassed or shrink wrapped,
That doesn't prevent
okay,
anything here from the bottom.
but it's no different than the trailers sit there that they collect some water, but not very much at all.
No, I'm not thinking of water. I'm thinking now
Engines.
you've got a motor
Yes.
vehicle that
Speak up a little bit, please.
you now got a motor vehicle that has hazardous substances on board, gas, oil, contaminated water. Um, what type of mitigation is planned to make sure that that doesn't go into the ground, which then makes its way into the water table?
Well, they're placed there after service. It was never occurred there. It's been serviced at the marina on the lake, right? So I don't understand the risk profile you're trying to articulate.
I think there is a risk that comes from a vehicle that parking any vehicle on property. So if you're going to now allow parking of vehicles there, you're introducing a potential hazard of leaking hazardous materials.
And you're calling a boat a vehicle, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
It's got a motor.
Right, right.
So.
Better have a motor.
So my concern is that if we've got leaking oil, leaking gas, leaking whatever, contaminated water, that it gets into the ground, and then gets into the water. There's nothing that prevents that from happening.
Okay,
This is from the minutes from last July 11th meeting. Mr. Westbrook stated that this being a requirement, he would like the planning board to consider that the storing of boat trailers was a one-year temporary activity Mr. Euler asked Mr. Westbrook if by that he meant 1 year only. Mr. Westbrook stated that it's indeed the plan. Mr. Euler and the members of the planning board stated that the first time they heard of this and they were not aware that it was the original case. Mr. Nadler asked the applicant if he meant less than a year. Mr. Westbrook answered that he meant 1 year. Mr. Euler asked if this meant 1 year and not the next year. Mr. Westbrook stated yes. After discussion was determined a special use permit for a temporary use would be serve as an amended SUP amended SUP to expire December 31st, 2023. And if the applicant desires it to be renewed after that period, it would be renewed upon a new application to extend the permit. If the permit is renewed, the applicant will need to provide a buffer along the frontage at a minimum, improvement to the driveway entrance, and other requirements stated as conditions of the renewal period. So that, it was like,
That's clear.
you got the one for 1 year, and anything beyond that, we're now looking at buffering, landscaping, and a driveway improvement. So, and it sounds like you're gonna be there for a while. You're
Yeah,
saying, could you give me a,
We're not going out of town.
okay. And if, it sounds like it's gonna be a yearly thing, and at some point, hopefully Mr. Rule will be able to develop that maintenance shed, and anything that you do now to facilitate the operations you're, doing right now with the boat trailer storage, would be useful in that development when you do that. So, how do you want to handle this? I mean, we're looking at a plan that does not show a berm, it does not show landscaping. Do we want the applicant to go back and provide that information?
I think also, and to answer Mark's question about hazardous,
The other chemicals are
Runoff.
fuel and.
yeah, because that was not on the original.
Right.
That was just.
I remember you saying it at some point in the last year. Oh, we do that on site at the marina.
Right.
Can you please put that in your statement of operations? And then can you list the maximum number of boats and the maximum number of trailers in your statement of operations? You get close to it, but it's not like there's anything.
So the answer is, I think I got your question. So Chris, the answer is that 150 trailers, 25 trailers with a boat.
So,
175 trailers and 25 boats.
They'll be taken out of there.
During the permit time.
wait, during the winter though, you'll have 150
We'll-
boats on trailers, won't you?
Yeah, but we'll take them out and we'll take them up into storage.
Is it just the
The current
storage?
statement of work indicates that there'd be 25 boats and then it states that they'll be there 12 months, 12 months a year.
Most boats you're gonna have is 25 boats. That doesn't,
There's only two models, trailer model and a trailer with a boat model.
so it's a trailer that's empty,
There's a trailer that's empty, 150 of them,
okay?
and
That's during the summer.
25 of the trailer with a boat on it.
Okay.
175
And those would
boats.
stay year
It's
round.
175 total.
The trailer with the boats would stay year round. You're proposing.
Excuse me?
The trailer with the boats would be year round storage.
Yeah, that's the way I wrote it, okay?
Right.
But I would like to take a little break. I do expect Peter here shortly, because he's the one that helped me put this together. So I want to make sure that I don't repeat and not meet the need of this board.
All right, we can come back to this, no problem.
All right, thank you.
So we'll defer any further discussion on this
Yep.
until Mr. Bruce shows up.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll keep the public hearing open. And move on to 24029 Brandon Sargent, Everest Infrastructure Partners for Everest Frontier Bliss Road, requesting a special use permit for installation of a new collated communication facility at the existing tower. And then you have a separate CPN number for the site plan associated with that special use permit. So Sorry?
No, good evening. I'm Joe Papa with
Oh, Joe,
T-Mobile.
okay. Okay. Thank you. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing out there. I think it's fairly clear, but you're putting new hardware on a,
Putting new hardware, T-Mobile is not co-located at this site currently. So we're using the site consistently with what's there. The co-location would consist of putting antennas on the tower at a 195-foot center line. The tower is overall height is 242 feet, so it's below the top of the tower. The antennas will be attached to a mount on the tower. Cabling will run down the tower to the base of the tower across a short ice bridge, which is that dark black line, and then to the equipment area, which is to the northwest corner of that drawing. The equipment area will be within a new fenced area, with the fencing to match what's existing there. Post fencing will be 10 feet wide by 24 feet long, and then there will be two concrete slabs within that fencing. So concrete slab to the right will have cabinets on it that will have the communication equipment which operates the antennas on the tower. And then to the left is a proposed diesel generator. And then to the left of that, there's a small utility backboard. And the utility backboard will have the utilities running. There's just this drawing just shows a small segment of it running straight out to the road. And through the comments, we understand that we'll need a right-of-way permit through the highway department to bore under the road to get. There's a utility pole on the opposite side of the road of the site, so we need to connect to that.
okay. So everything new as far as structure wise, other than the tower, is all behind the existing operation in regard to its frontage on both roads, right?
That's correct. The site's well vegetated, and on top of that, the buildings in the front block the view from the road, so it's going to be hard to tell what's there.
And new fencing going in, Joe?
That's correct.
How high?
It's going to match existing. I believe the fence there is 6 feet with 3 strands of barbed wire.
Oh, I have to look up code. I think our code is 7 feet with barn.
For the same as solar, right?
Huh?
Is it the same as solar?
No, it's not the same solar. It's, we just did that other one. It was, I think it was 7 feet with barbs. Are you looking?
The fence height?
Yeah,
Closed by a fence not less than 8 feet in height of ground level. So with adequate security measures along the top of the fence.
so a minimum 8-foot fence with barb on top of that. That's what our
That'll
code
be
is.
the new fence then. The existing fence, I'm pretty sure is lower than that.
Yeah, so that's what our code, I knew it was pretty high. That's what I remember. So it's a minimum 8-foot fence with barb on top.
Okay,
It says
Okay.
that as a condition.
Yeah.
Site plans to be revised to identify the height of the proposed perimeter
Oh,
fence
yeah.
as being 8 foot tall with adequate security on top to comply with code.
That's not what we're saying.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
You're ahead of us.
that's twice now.
It's getting good.
so that'll be a condition of the approval.
Yeah.
It's a wet site, man, it's, maybe it was because it's raining so much, but, I think, did you address floodplain or that?
Mike Murphy made the comment for.
Yeah, okay, that's what it was. And prior to signature is fixed, site plan shall be revised, noting that portion of the property is identified within the zone A of FEMA firm. Okay. The gate out front,
Yeah, wide open.
is security an issue or are you, it definitely needs a new gate. I would think you need a new gate, and I would go so far as to, we may ask that you provide a new gate. You know what I'm talking about?
I
Okay,
understand.
yeah,
We don't
Why-
control the
why-
gate, we're just gonna be a tenant there, so I'll have to relay that to the, Everest is, the.
okay,
controller of the
you're
site.
mobile, Everest, the owner, okay. Okay,
Sure. The question that I would have that I think ties to that, I know there's conditions that go into play that require bonds for dismantling and so on and so forth. In the new solar code, there's requirements for maintenance. Is there anything towards the towers that's required for maintenance? We looked at this site a year or so ago for a similar one.
mhm,
That same fence had the same problem doing it.
same
We
gate.
had recommended at that time that it be repaired. Nothing took place with that. Is there anything that
Is it just a gate that's unlatched?
it's
Or
open and
it's-
half of it's down?
It-
And
Okay, but I mean,
then, so that's not a planning board mechanism. The answer is no, there's no like operation bond, there's a decommissioning bond. Which, by the way, Lance and I are proposing that the condition he's proposed say, if it turns out they need to add to the decommissioning, to the existing decommissioning bond, then they're required to post that, but I don't think they will be. Anyway, so file a complaint, email the code enforcement, it's a violation of town code not to have your fence.
Yeah, so again, it may not be related to this, but my concern is that if we're not taking care of a fence, what are we doing to take care of the rest of the facility to make sure that we don't create a larger problem?
Well, these are, I mean, I'm assuming these are out-of-state owners.
And they don't even know what's happening.
You know, this, you know, you're not gonna be able to get them to do this. But our code enforcement officer is sending notices of violation, like, I'm assuming you're not gonna be able to successfully get them to fix a fence that,
True.
you know, we can beat up on him, but. You know,
but I think the fence that is required to meet our code, that's okay. It's this gate out by the driveway is the issue I was talking.
Yeah,
about.
I referred to it as.
So in terms of having adequate fencing, I think they're okay. And
Yeah.
obviously, you put the 8-foot fence in with this improvement, then it will meet standards. So that,
you'll have Murph, I mean, it may be a code requirement, not a site plan.
well, I was thinking more it's security problem, it's a security wish of the applicant that they'd like to have not have people driving in the driveway and
Yeah.
turning around. And by having this gate up and functioning, that would preclude that. So I don't know. I guess, again, your team.
We're T-Mobile.
Yeah, and
I do think that the best route would be having that.
but the applicant is you're the applicant.
T-Mobile is the applicant, correct?
Okay, how do we get the gate fixed?
We have
Our
somebody.
code
do
enforcement
code-
officer is gonna send them a letter. Kristen, can you ask Mike to take a look rather than have Mark? So this is the full planning board would like that issue addressed. Even if it's not technically a violation of town code, could you please send a letter on behalf of the town saying, hey, we noticed this. You know, we know you, but if it's a violation, you should proceed that. He can call me to ask. If he looks at you blankly and says, what are you talking about? So, I don't know. But I know what they want.
The best contact for that would be Brandon Sargent at Everest Infrastructure.
That's it. So Brandon Sargent is not the applicant, T-Mobile is the applicant. And the resolutions are written around T-Mobile.
I'm sorry, say that again.
The owner of the facility is this Everest Infrastructure Partners, who we listed on the agenda as being the applicant, but in fact, I think what we're hearing this evening is that T-Mobile is the applicant, and that's who the resolution and special use permit is being issued to.
So the resolution, the special use permit are being issued to property. for a co-located antenna that is owned by T-Mobile. And I've thought this through on other applications. You know, Everest may transfer title to a, you know, subsidiary and then to an affiliated company and then to a parent company, none of which affects this site plan or special use permit approval. It's for the property, not the company.
Chris, I would assume there's a special use permit existing for this property,
Yes,
okay?
that's my.
So this is a amendment or it's another one?
No, so I believe in my mind, this is, and I guess Kristen and Lance, stop me if I'm going off the rails here. I think this is a special, there is an existing 220-60
Having to do with code.
A1B tower special use permit. And then this is a 220-60 A1A co-location special use. So this is a separate special use permit. I'm not sure, are there other co-locations on this tower already?
Yes, Verizon Wireless is the antennas at the top of the tower.
But that might have been the
But
original.
that was probably approved with, by Everest.
With
Yeah.
what structures you have now, I guess are
Yeah.
Verizon structures. Okay.
So that's how I picture it in
Okay.
my head, is these are two separate, and then, you know, there may be another special use permit for another co-location and another and another. It's a good thing, we want as many co-locations as we can. Rather than different towers open up all over the place.
Okay, well then, it's a separate special use permit. Okay,
And it could be issued to the man in the moon,
I
as
guess,
long as that.
getting back to
Proper,
this
so-
gate issue, if it was an amendment to the original one, then all the more reason to require the gate to be approved, being that it's part of the cohabitation, as I call it, on the tower, and it's strictly uniquely to T-Mobile, then I guess.
Yeah, let's add that.
I mean, we'll
I-
still
I
go
see your
through,
point, no,
we'll still go through the code violation
yeah, that's,
procedure on the gate, but, and that's something that I guess we'll have to notify Everett.
well, but as you're saying it, Chuck. Wait, oh, it says T-Mobile for Frontier Telephone. Single stage site and special use permit approval. Okay, so this is for T-Mobile. And
I can add
when you say and Everest,
Everest infrastructure permits for Everest.
that way everyone's in violation of these terms and conditions if they're, if they fail to do it.
Yeah, because you have inspections. Or, okay.
This is frozen.
Okay. Anyone in the audience want to address the board regarding this application for a addition to a tower out on Bliss Road? The county planning board had no recommendation. Jim Fletcher had mentioned, as you mentioned, that requires a highway permit for the boring under Bliss. Talked about the gate, talked about the floodplain. Talked about whether it's a new or amended SUP. And anybody else have anything? So are you comfortable, Mark, that we handle this as a? That's a complaint regarding the gate. Okay. I will close the public hearing. Let's move on to the seeker resolution. This is an unlisted action, being that it's a communications company. One of the things, there's a requirement of the bonding. Remember we got into that?
Decommissioning bond?
Yeah, the kerfuffle as far as the inflation factor and making
Yes.
sure that's not an issue here.
Not an issue,
Okay,
because we're just gonna, it's a math issue that Lance and I can deal with.
okay. All right, so I'm looking for a seeker unlisted action resolution from the board. Let's do one at a time.
I'm move to accept. 5416 Bliss Road, CPN 24/029. Dash 24 and 30. And it's one with an action. We're just doing the secret. Okay, so.
Okay, motion second for the discussion. If not all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, let's, site plan first. right?
Yeah, I have them not in correct order in your package, so you should, you can skip to the site.
Okay. I'll make a motion that, we approve a site plan related to, T-Mobile's application for 5416 Bliss Road, subject to the,
I have 8, I didn't add any to just one, but
I'd ask about 6.
yeah. That's-
If we're not
I'm
adding
asking
to
you,
the-
it's about 6. So I carried over a similar condition to what we had on the pole that was erected previously on another application. Being that I don't know, I didn't see a note saying this cell tower was lit or not lit. I didn't see it in the application saying if it had to be or not had to be. So I just carried over that similar condition that the applicant would provide us documentation stating whether or not that pole had to be lit.
But this applicant is not raising the height at all.
Understand?
It's lowering the, so
It's, again, for your consideration.
I mean, do we know if there's wasn't cats, the existing, how long has that tower been there? I mean, it wouldn't hurt to check with Mercy.
Yeah.
the only thing about that is, my question is if this applicant's not increasing the height of the tower through, and it's not, onus is not really, I don't think on him. He's just adding to the tower that's already there.
I think you should just strike them, check.
So that's what my concern would be there on that.
Up to the board.
Thank you.
does the tower have a light on it now? Didn't Mercy require one? Didn't anyway.
The tower is lit.
It is lit.
It's over 200 feet, so the.
I don't think there's anything more that can be done.
So they give it a-
Yeah, let's take it out.
All right.
We should have just led with that question. That's my fault.
But the issue regarding floodplain, that still stands.
Sure, so that's the new 6, and then so there's a total of 7.
Okay. Okay, I have a motion, a second to
Do I have a second? I'll second it.
okay. A motion second to approve the site plan. For the reference property, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, move on to the special use book.
I want to make sure.
Being unique to a communication.
Yeah. Just for the board's purview, I believe the first 3, the standard, number 4 was as recommended by the code enforcement officer related to the structure and the integrity. 5 and 6 are carryovers for decommissioning, but the way I'm talking with the attorney would be to add that is to be determined by the town engineer and town attorney prior. So if we have an existing one and it's determined that that's adequate, then there wouldn't be a need to supply a new decommissioning bond to the town. The question is, we're just not certain that one has been used. So 5 and 6 are related to a decommissioning bond. 7 and 8, we can strike. 8 is in regards to drumlins. It's made it over.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So this applicant is only responsible for the decommissioning and everything that applies to their facilities, not the total.
Potentially.
Yeah, and so our thought was, it's possible the existing decommissioning bond is adequate to cover the cost of removal of this stuff too. But if it's not, then
Into it.
and that's, well, Lance and I can make that decision based on whatever the applicant wants to tell us. And then if it needs some more, it could either add to the existing, I don't know what their lease says, Everest might want to increase increase their amount or to lower postage. Hopefully, we can figure that out, you know.
Okay,
One more question. This is a one and done, right? Not like our last one where he had to come back and.
Correct.
that's what I asked about the
This is one and done.
inflation issue, yeah.
Do I have it ready to them?
That's what I was trying to read and try to find it,
No,
but
I don't think I have a time frame in here identified,
I didn't see it. I just want to make sure that,
other than just inspections. maybe.
yeah, the.
Time frame on the,
Special use permit. Sometimes we put a
Oh.
time frame in the special. Here we, on the south.
Like renewing them.
5 years? No.
I think sometimes we just say carries. Forever.
Yeah,
And then
until they
some of them, we've-
shut
the
down.
ones that we've actually put a condition are the ones where you've restricted that. To 1 year or 2 year.
Yeah, so it's not, I didn't see it. I just want to make sure.
I don't see where it's needed. Okay, all right. So we've hashed that enough. So we're on special use permits. So we have a resolution to, resolution. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve special use permit for T-Mobile for Frontier Telephone at 5416 Bliss Road in the AR2 zoning district for CPN 24 029. This would be 030 for the special resolution. CPN. Whatever it is, I think that's what's gonna.
Site plan is, the special use is 29, site plan was 30.
For 29.
Mhm.
And with the, still the 6 conditions, they're like,
Correct, that's what I have.
with 6 conditions.
I'll second that.
Okay. A motion second. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Jeff, for coming out. Mhm.
Quick question, so going forward, I'll work with the zoning office.
You worked with, yeah,
To
the code
to get them
enforcement office.
updated plans and anything else that's needed.
Yep, as far as permits,
Very good, thank you very much.
getting, plans in, signed and.
Okay, thank you.
All right, ready to go back?
Yes,
Okay. Good evening, Peter. All right, we were talking with Greg about North Street. You had a temporary special use permit expire the end of the year, December 31st, and you're here this evening. You think to get another permit to allow you to ramp up a little bit your operation from what it was last year, 150 trailers you're talking about and 25 boats and trailers you'd like to park on this site. And I think that when we granted the temporary permit last year, we said that this is a temporary permit for 1 year. And any further subsequent permits on this site regarding the parking of trailers and boats would probably kick us into our requirements regarding special use permits for the parking of boats and trailers, which is a specific section, which gets into berming, landscaping across the frontage. I think the board was in agreement to waive any berming or landscaping or buffering on the property lines, on the side property lines. Along the frontage, I think we were concerned that now's the time to start considering a buffer across that frontage, as well as a concern I have, and I think other people, that driveway, maybe some improvements to that driveway, getting in and out of that site. Because you will have more trailers and more trucks going in and out. And when you're towing a trailer, I don't do well towing trailers, so you gotta be careful in terms of making turns and all that, so. That's where we sort of had left it with Greg. And if your intent in the future, which we understand was your original thought, is to move all your service operations up to North Street and to probably put some structures and buildings on it. Anything you would do now in relation to this particular application would certainly contribute to what you do in the future in terms of the buildings and all that. So you're essentially building this thing in phases, but now I think what the board is asking, if you want a further extension of your permit or a new permit to expand to 150 trailers and 25 boats and trailers, there's certain improvements that. Can I speak for the board?
Does Marine Blue have all those things?
It's
they've
not,
got
I get
shorter-
it, but that's not really what our code says.
Aren't they
Or
storing
what,
boats and trailers?
that's not the standard the board's applying. It's, I get it, but, you know,
That was different.
And it could have been non-conforming. I don't know when they
That
went in
wasn't
there.
any different, I guess, it's because they're storing boats and trailers
And hoist.
and so on, and they've got none of those things, so I'm just. It's less of an operation than theirs is. So I'm just wondering why I have a restriction requirement.
I wasn't here when Marine went in there, so all I'm doing is saying that, section of our code specifically says certain improvements be included as part of the issuance of special use permit. We gave you a break last year with the temporary for the 1 year. But now if this thing's gonna become perpetual or on a regular basis, you're going to see us and apply for this. I think it's time we start looking at these.
So what would an improvement be?
Well, I'm not gonna design your branch for you. You can read the code, see what's required, and give us a plan as to you're meeting the code. We'll make that decision. In general terms, it's buffering, it's landscaping, it's improvement of the driveway entrance for ingress and egress onto the site. I don't know how you guys feel about, I don't know if the code's specific as to what surface you park the trailers on. I know you parked them in just grass last year. That was fine. And was your boat and trailer storage area, which is shown on the plan, is that some surface different than what are you just
No, different
designating as
surface.
it?
No.
Okay.
One of the suggestions, if I may, Board, I'm sorry, talking with the code enforcement officer, he was, and I don't know if he's mentioned this to you or not. He was making the suggestion that if possible, maybe the boat and trailer portion be located along the property line outside of the flood zone area, the floodplain area. And that would help with the
Yeah,
flood.
but it's a preliminary flood plan.
I understand. I think what he was saying is you're good with this, just rotate it over to here and have them stored in this area. You can still use the whole area, but the boat and trailer portions be over here. And that would be helpful, I guess, for the floodplain management review. Cause the trailers and boats versus, or, I don't know, I'm just relaying what was relayed. As much as I can. So if modifications were being made, that was one suggestion to consider.
And Mark, you can tell Peter about your areas of
Yes,
concern.
as we start bringing boats with engines and on site leaders, what I would ask that you add to the statement of operations. Is how you handle the potentially hazardous fluids on the boat. So if they're gonna be removed off site, then let's just put that in the statement of operations. So that they're removed off site, so that we don't have a potential future hazard risk on site. We've been staying there 12 months a year and creating a potential hazardous condition. That can get into the water table, get into sucker boat, so on and so forth.
So
So
we
I
do,
think it's a statement of work of how you intend to handle that.
Doesn't every marina?
Do the same
boats
thing.
Right on the water's edge? Like, Sagers is like on Sucker Brook. And they're keeping boats, they have 150 boats in a barn. That,
another 50 around the barn.
alright, so how is that?
let's go with, from this point forward, we're gonna talk about this property. And the code as it exists today. As it applies to this property. I get your point, but that's not how, okay, you can drain as much oil as you want in this sucker.
No, I'm not saying I'm draining oil in Sucker Brook.
So say that you're not draining it.
But I'm gonna be storing boats there that might have oil in the engine. That's just like every other marina in the place.
Great, say that. I'm not saying you can't.
He's saying I have to provide him a plan of how they're not gonna have any gas or oil.
I'm following up on a request from the environmental conservation board that had a concern related to the topic. So they're looking for something to be added, they're suggesting that something to be added to the statement of operations of how you think about. Because we're looking for a special use on this piece of property. They're looking to try to protect their environmental concerns for them. So I'm just asking for a statement of how you intend to help them mitigate that concern.
Is your method of operation to drain the boats before you shrink wrap?
Well, define drain them.
Well,
They'll have gas in them. For sure. They'll have oil in
Don't
them,
let that
for
go
sure.
sure.
okay, so you don't drain, you don't pull the
They
plugs?
don't empty.
Well, we pull the plug, but that's just water in the bottom of the boat.
Okay, I'm thinking the engine.
And you winterize them.
Yeah,
Right.
And you winterize them, but that, there's still oil in the engine, there's still gasoline in the gas tank. 100% of them. will
What I
take
do
that.
think is relevant is on County Road 10, it's the same model we're taking on, right? We're gonna have the tree in front or whatever's required there, that's fine. But, you know, to take these, treat these differently because they're in County Road 30 versus County Road 10. I promise you that every boat on County Road 10 has oil and gas in it.
Guys, we're not suggesting that you can't have boats with oil and gas.
You just asked me how I'm gonna mitigate.
Excuse
that.
me, we're gonna ask you to put in your statement of operations an explanation. If there be gas in them, great, say it doesn't leak. You know, based on my experience as owning a marina for this long, these things don't leak. Or if they leak, this is how we're gonna clean it up. Or, I don't know.
It'll be
But
part of
address it.
my process inspection that I'm gonna inspect for leaks and fix it. Something that's just just a process is what he's looking for, in a statement of how that's gonna be mitigated.
Not a 20-page process, a paragraph. You just need to address the issue.
Probably something you do already, you just didn't say it out loud. As a mechanic myself, I do all that myself. I'll tell everybody. I do. On a comment on the marina next door to you, I was on the board. I think Chuck was too, definitely was. When they did an extension out back there, I was here when they did that, and we asked them to do that all gravel back there, which they did. So you're doing it different than they're doing it, not the same. In my mind, also, if you're on gravel, you can see if it's oil leaking too. You can't in grass. So they did what they asked with gravel out back there. On their expansion, they went out back further.
Well, I don't think our code is specific as to the surface you park these on it, but there are certain specific parameters that have to be met under the code. And I would suggest you,
It's a 22043, is that what you said?
yeah, 43, right?
Okay.
And
Including berms, evergreens,
220-35.
Screen from the street. I mean, it's specific to special use permits regarding boats and trailers.
Outdoor storage.
So I think if we're gonna, again, I think what we're saying is if we're gonna continue with issue current, and the other thing is if you provide these provisions, maybe we can consider a longer special use permit or permanent special use permit until you eventually do your operations and move your entire service up there if you do. So again, anything you do now will help you in the future, assuming that you plan to do something with that problem. So read the code. Provide what's in the code. We're not gonna design it for you. It mentions berms, landscaping. I do think-
Doesn't have them either on County Road 10. So why is it a different standard? They don't have berms, they don't have trees.
Yeah, they do.
They said the entrance, I can't.
Sutter does, yeah.
Sutter does.
They have evergreens. Yep.
Mhm.
How well we know. We told them many times to replace them. Yeah.
I went by there today and they replaced.
So again. That's the code. We've got to enforce the code, guys.
Well, I'm asking you to enforce the code, but you're not enforcing it uniformly. If you're not doing it to Marine Blue, my neighbor, right?
But they haven't been in for an application. You're the ones here tonight and at that podium making this application. It's not Marine Blue, it's not Sutter, it's, you know, it's not that
You
they.
don't see that, that's
Well, when we do-
inconsistent?
When we do find a violation, just like we did in the previous plan, we do submit a request for code enforcement officer to review it. As a citizen on multiple occasions, if I see something with one of the plans that I've reviewed that doesn't meet the condition, I'll send a note to the code enforcement officer. It's not our job to enforce,
To chase it.
to chase it. It's our job to make sure that when a new plan or a waiver is being requested or a special use permit is being requested, that we adhere to the code. So that's what our job is related to. That's what we're trying to do.
It's a business.
And we're trying to give you the guidance to how to do that.
We didn't even
In a
bring
way
up the
that'll
Peter
work with the
that
project.
violation.
I would also recommend that you make sure you take a look at the comments from the Ontario County Planning Board.
We
They
have
have some
here.
requests for information, just as you resubmit the plan, so just help to speed the process along.
Yeah, can you speak to why you have trailers out there right now?
Right now,
Yeah,
because I had to put trailers somewhere.
you don't have a permit for it.
I did not know that. I thought it was, it's a year. I applied for a year ago.
It ended in December.
I didn't know that. I thought it was an annual process, and this is up for renewal.
No, last year it came in here for a temporary. And it ended in December of last year.
So should I have applied in January then? Like to stay on the calendar year?
No, you
So,
should have.
Well, you should have gotten a permit before you started putting trailers there. I think
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So, fellas, I would ask you to go back to the drawing boards literally and provide us a new plan showing these improvements we talked about. Please read the code. Make sure that you're in compliance. Again, I think we've already granted to you a waiver from having to put landscaping on either side because of the similar uses that you have to the east and west. But along the frontage, that's a big concern. And this, you know, the revision of the statement of operations as to how you'll function out there in terms of this property.
okay.
Ken?
I have one thing for the board, I'm sorry. Your EAF part one, it just, when you resubmit, just make sure it's signed. This version that I have wasn't. There may be another version, but this, so the second one is more of a question for you to consider, don't need an answer today, but it identifies 40,000 square foot of disturbance is anticipated for it.
That was removed.
This version shows it, so I'm hoping
That's
that.
what was removed.
Yes, thank you.
That's where we're gonna put the road in on the
That's
closest.
what I thought too, I thought it was part of the older part, thank you.
Murph's concern regarding the floodplain, and again, it's not a fait accompli in terms of defined floodplain, but he had requested that any permit granted would be a 1-year permit.
So, yeah, I reread it.
And
I guess it's very important. He basically was stating the way it's, I'm sorry, I'm in between three different things. Let me just find the right words so that I don't miss this. One of the potential conditions of the special use permit would be, it's recommended that a condition that a floodplain development permit be issued, so typical that when it's in a floodplain, the flood development permit would be required. He's saying that would be required prior to issuance of the permit from him. So that would be one of the potential conditions. The other one, the one I believe you're alluding to.
I'm sorry, Lance, I didn't.
Sure, I'm sorry. Being that it's any project located in a floodplain, whether it's temporary or not, is required to fill out a.
Careful with our words here.
Sure.
It's preliminary, right?
Preliminary.
It means nothing other than they put out a preliminary map.
Understand. All I'm saying is his request to the planning board was to condition this approval on you obtaining a flood development permit from him prior to doing anything on the site. Because it's designated as a flood. That
That
was
was not designated as a flood.
I'm just reiterating what he's
That was
suggesting.
Mike Murphy.
Correct. The second condition that he's requesting be considered. This is, I think, what you were referring to, was that he says, this is his words, I'm just reiterating what was written. This office recommends that should a special use permit be issued for this application, it should be a condition that a floodplain development permit be applied for every year or on an annual basis. For the reasons I believe what you're saying, which is the floodplain is preliminary, it's very much could go away next year if and when once mapped. So he's saying in lieu of holding you hostage with a flood development permit forever, just renew it so because it's possible that it would go away and then you wouldn't need it anymore. I think that's what he's intending to say there, which is why he's suggesting that the condition would be if upon approval, that you would have to fill one of those out and apply for a flood development permit every year so that if the determination was changed, then you wouldn't need one anymore. Probably something that you guys can work out with Mike Murphy and how that wording works or doesn't work for you. But those were his conditions suggested to the planning.
On your new and improved site plan you're gonna give us, you don't show the site distance at the driveway yet. You wanna scroll down a little bit, Kim? You've got the arrows down there.
It was
See-
100 feet. Oh, you get the arrow.
Not the setback, the site distance. You see those arrows are down here?
Right here.
No, down here.
Oh, sorry.
They're out, they're sort of floating out there. They should be up by the driveway showing what the site distance is. In either direction on North Street, okay? That should be shown, being our concern about getting in and out of there. The easement for the gas line.
Yep.
The actual easement limits should probably be shown. You show the gas line, you say it's subject to an easement that you don't show, is it a 20-foot easement, a 30-foot easement? Do you recall? The gas line, the yellow line there?
He's got the library page, so I mean,
Oh, no, it doesn't.
I would think that they would pull that information from
I
the
mean,
library.
looking at where the setback or that driveways or the parking area starts, up there, it almost looks like that's might be the outside limit of the easement. You see where I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
So again, what is the easement? Is it a 20-foot easement, 30-foot easement? And probably, the gas line is probably centered in that easement, so you should show that. Does the board have anything else that should be on the plan?
I remember asking this last year, I just don't remember. What's this 40-foot trail easement to the town? That starts at one edge of the property and stops in the middle?
It's a hiking trail.
The Auburn
It's
Trail.
part of the Auburn
Yeah.
Trail.
Yeah, but it doesn't go
That's it.
anywhere and it doesn't,
What do you mean it doesn't go anywhere?
starts right here. And it stops right here.
Can't see your map.
Go down, please.
It's just been odd, starts right here, stops there. That's weird.
The trail goes through the back, Chris, behind these properties, comes down. And then the county wouldn't let the trail cross a county road. So the town had to bring the trail toward the city. And then at that point is where the crossing occurs.
Oh, the trail crosses
Crossing
here.
right there. Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
okay, thank you. And then this drainage easement stops at the property line, I'm assuming, or does it extend?
The drainage easement on the front of your parcel. Yes, it sounds like there is. Can you just extend that? It looks like it.
It just, label the layer might not have just been.
Yeah, that makes
Okay with this.
Okay, well, we talked about it enough. So we want to continue this until a revised site plan be submitted to go with the special use permit request. Is there anything that has to be added to the special use permit? application itself, I don't think there's, other than the statement of operations has to be amended. A little more detail.
Is there any place you can put your trailers now? In the meantime?
If it on Westlake Road.
Yeah, it's like a host. That's what they're doing now.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, Christian, does that matter? Without a permit still there?
Yes, they are in
Yeah, In
violation.
violation.
However, as a general proposition, the town of Canandaigua uses the violation enforcement process to ensure compliance. We've got an applicant here who's working towards compliance. And that's what we, you know, so long as we receive a amended site plan in accordance with what was discussed here in the near future, there's no violation that's being issued.
Well, I would say they need to be at least 100 feet back and they don't need to put any more back there. I mean, why
That makes
keep on,
sense. Can you
why
move them
keep
100
on
feet
using
back?
it if we haven't improved
I don't
They're
disagree.
60 feet back, is that right?
100?
No, it's 100 feet back from the road right away. So it says it on the drawing, Chuck, you and I had that conversation, it's a sub.
Yeah, and you graciously said you said it, and that's what the plan shows at 100 feet.
You can get those moved this week, right? On 2 feet back, 100 feet back.
Well, they're already on it now.
They're already at her now, I believe, by the stakes, but we'll go back and measure.
Bob doesn't believe that. Can you
I know
double
this,
check?
and I trust it, I trust him, I'm not saying he's not telling the truth. I
It
was
was a
there,
mistake from last year.
Right,
They're
right.
Same spot as they were last year.
Okay, do I have a motion to continue the public hearing to? When do you think you folks can have Anthony or Netsia provide a new plan?
but then he provided the plans.
Well, it's
Yeah.
a Netsia plan, right?
Right.
I assume they do the amendment. We have meetings in May on the 14th and the 28th.
We'll take the 14th, please.
Well, you'd have to get the revised plan in by this Friday, isn't it? A week prior, okay.
Okay.
A week prior?
Yep.
Okay,
And obviously, I mean, check, it's 100 feet back, shoot Chris an email saying we checked, it's definitely where it's supposed to be, Bob's losing his mind. If it's not, move them back. What I said about the enforcement process being means to obtain compliance goes out the window and, you know, it becomes a mechanism by which we increase budgetary funding by assessing fines. It's not something the town wants to do, and I don't think we'll have to.
okay, I have a motion to
I'll move
continue.
it, so May 14th.
May 14th, we'll shoot for that.
Did you say earlier that the berm wouldn't be required?
Berming or landscaping, I think it's
Screening.
One or the other?
I think he said it's in the code, wherever the code
He said-
says.
requires it closer to. Just reading it a couple seconds ago.
Fences, walls, and embankments.
To
or-
require a berm or landscaping in accordance with Town Code 22043.
So trees, landscaping.
Those people opt for landscape.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
Chairman, Mr. Chairman.
sure. Oh. Somebody.
Or listen, she's.
Oh, okay. Regarding this application, Carla?
Yes, I'm sorry. We also are a marina. I just had a question. You had mentioned to them to read the code. We are zoned over there. Our zoning district is actually communities commercial. Could you tell me what code would be tantamount to that versus the industrial?
Well, you were,
There are different requirements.
I was gonna say for different zoning.
Right, I just want to read the code, but I wanted an idea of where to look.
220 47, 43. 220-43, if you type in Town of Canandaigua E code, and then go to chapter 220, section 43.
That is hard.
It's
And that's for community commercial as well.
They don't have.
for boat storage, yes.
Okay, thank you, sorry to interrupt.
Other
Is it the
storage.
same for industrial and commercial?
The special use permit is, I don't know if there are other requirements or waivers in that zoning district or industrial, I just want to open up that.
I didn't.
Made by Scott, seconded by you.
Stayed stuck around.
Yes, I'll have to wait for our,
Martin, you seconded that?
I did.
our fourth to come, well, we have three, we have, okay.
Vote, was there a vote?
Not yet.
Not yet. Stand by. Sorry. Sorry, Bill. Have to wait for our fourth member to come back. I don't think FLX had a special use.
I don't think it's any.
No, it's, that was the sale of boats.
I think she says they also own.
Oh,
I thought. that
They're
was-
FLX, right?
that was FLX.
Yeah, I thought I thought I heard her say. They also are, or maybe I misunderstood.
You know what they do have is a consent for planning board members to enter their property for purposes.
Scott, yea or nay, you wanna vote?
I'm
the
assuming you have
continuation?
a tape measure in your car.
Yeah, I'll go in there as soon as. we're-
All in favor?
I figured, I just want to remind you that you don't.
All
have
in
to
favor of
estimate another
continuing?
vote.
Aye.
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 Thought we did that. Okay, we have continued it.
Yeah.
I don't think we voted this. No, that's why I left.
What's that?
All right, we're off to site plans.
Music postal.
Fully, right, Bill?
Yes.
Okay, that's next on the docket. 24/027, John and Patricia. Is it Wolfangle? Wolfangle, 2639 Cooley. Site plan to approve to build a new house. Including dwelling, driveway, walkway, septic system on a vacant lot in the AR2 zoning district. Representing the applicant, Mr. William Grove.
That's me. I just want to start off by saying I love baseball. And I'm here tonight. I was in my son's game earlier. They had won, but I just got a text from my wife that she had the walk-off hit to win their first game. With you guys. Shows you how much I love
Well,
it.
you were there for a while,
I
right?
was there for a while.
Like you were
Yeah, I was
online,
on
yeah.
there driving here just so I can. To the front of the-
Hopefully she recorded
For me.
I hope she did.
video.
So anyway, yes.
You'll get no mercy from us.
The shop
Okay.
that it's a single family residence on a vacant lot. It's kind of a real funky house design with a dry swale built into the landscaping to go under a portion of the house through the middle there. Driveway will come in to a parking area disconnected from the house, and so that, you know, there's no attached garage or parking adjacent to the house. There's gonna be a walkway that meanders down and crosses that dry swale, gets you into the house. Conventional septic system. I'm sure you're gonna ask me about the approval on that. It's
Yeah, where are you?
in process. Haven't heard back from Tyler yet, but I don't anticipate any issues with septic approval there. I did make some changes based on TRC review. And the plan that is displayed up there shows those changes. Most notably, I guess I added the wetland, the federal wetland area to the plan. So on the right-hand side, in amongst the trees, is a blue circle. So that's where the wetland area was. I made sure that I had the proper driveway width, 12 feet. To be paved in the right of way. What did I do? Narrowed the entrance down from the previous version so that it was kind of just a big area there. There used to be a barn up in the front of the property years ago. If you go to Encore and go back through historical photo, you'll see a barn up there near the road. So that's why the big flat entrance is up there now. But we'll narrow that down. And Added a note about the C of O not being granted until site would be, until the site is properly stabilized. And we also heard back from Chippo, would be all clear.
Okay.
on that. I think the only thing left on my list to do would be to, we talked about submitting an NOI to, for stormwater, for construction stormwater, because we're so close to an acre of disturbance.
Just a erosion.
Yeah. Which I just did one on, what was it, Casella, a previous project that I had submitted, and just today finally got, word back from DC. It was like 8 or 9 weeks it took for, and lots of badgering them to get it to me.
Sure.
So I'll get on that as soon as we get approval on this. So we have it when we're ready to break ground.
You said you added a note, I'm sorry, about your stabilization. What did it say exactly? Because there's a condition that covers it already.
Oh, okay. Note 32, all lawn areas shall be seeded and established and be site stabilized to meet the New York DEC and Town of Canandaigua MS4 requirements prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy or at the town's discretion.
Exactly the same. Perfect. Either or, I just want to make sure it's at the discretion of the town, because it used to be not written that way. And if you,
I think that language came from the town.
yeah, I mean, it was almost perfect.
Yeah, I wouldn't have nailed it.
Oh.
Very good.
That was good.
Like a little structure there now down, it's like a greenhouse or a little shed or something, is that it?
I don't think so. I think it's completely vacant.
Is it?
I think. Last time I drove by, when the sign up there wasn't. That I think of.
Yeah, it's just a little, it looks on me like there's a greenhouse or something, it's a little shed. I thought it was on this property.
Not that I recall, but it could be.
Like down.
There's a menagerie next door.
Yeah.
I believe there's I don't know if it's still there, but I think there was a camel that lived there for a while.
A camel?
A camel?
It was.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
Good.
it actually was.
For Llamas, but can't.
Or
We're out here to talk about your crossings.
Yeah.
2639. Oh, certainly.
So you designated the wetland, you said,
This is crazy.
you got the ship, saw that.
It's not very big.
If there
I just
is,
wanted,
it's
it
not-
didn't
yeah.
show up, I'm sure it's gonna be.
Hmm.
It would be
Right, it's
toward
not
the north.
no.
Probably to. So.
I don't recall one being there, and I don't think it'll be there once they start, even if it was.
I drive by it every day.
Okay.
There's something there.
Okay.
Alright, so.
like trying to figure out.
That is a unique house design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is,
Is it different levels?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
do you have the elevations?
There's only.
There's no stair.
Very
Oh, there it
contemporary.
is.
Yeah, that's gonna get changed when you drive groceries go back there.
So it's like a 1970s house in the woods kind of thing. At least that's what it looks like to me from.
Frank Lloyd Wright?
Well, he's gonna turn
I'm not sure
around.
if the architect had submitted any.
If it's over 250
renderings
feet,
or.
Is it
Not,
I don't know,
Elevation
it's hard for me
views.
to tell.
there's elevations, but not like in
Okay.
place on site.
Oh.
elevations that I
Lance,
see.
I know you guys didn't look at, are there anything, is
75.
there anything related to the
75 one.
Oh, that's
exterior
well
that,
within that.
he's got rocks, you got a pedestrian bridge? Is that the kind of stuff somebody should look at as far as the design, is it?
This is about an 8-foot drop down the back.
Residential pedestrian bridge. It's
No?
not, it's not.
I mean, what is it, is it a wood?
I assume it's, yeah, some wood blanket, just
Okay.
like a little deck to get across that.
That's,
I think
Yeah, it's a,
great.
So you park down here and walk?
no, it's the other way, park up high and then it's a pathway down to the house.
Oh,
Yeah, the road is the high point.
oh,
Good exercise carrying verse.
walking back.
Well, next will be in for trams.
Escalator.
That is, yeah.
Very nice.
There's farmers at Cooley, you're gonna look at that and say, whoa, what did they build next door?
I think that's great looking.
All right, anybody in the audience have any issues? John's here for the next one, okay. Just going over my checklist. Murphy had no comments. Fletcher said you need a new service application. You did delineate the wetland. You didn't look at this, right, Kim, ECB? No? MRD did not look at it. You got the SHPA, you're working with Tyler. And you got the NOI and for stormwater. Okay, if nobody has anything else, we can move on, and it is a type 2. The only thing on the, I'll make a motion that we approve both the seeker resolution type 2 action, meaning we have no further review regarding seeker, as well as the single stage site plan approval with resolutions. You need a park and rec.
Yeah,
Okay.
I noticed I was 0 for 2 on that one. So.
Baseball.
Now you're even for today.
So. All that.
Oh, yeah, you got some good ones.
I thought I was up. No. Just for clarifications, number 6, as referenced earlier, which was the note on the lawn, we struck that. Then that puts you with 6 written conditions. 7 would be park and rec fee. 8 is just, again, acknowledging that this project would require an NOI. So I'm just suggesting that that NOI be electronically submitted, or however you want to do it, to DEC, and a copy be provided to the town prior to construction. And then I believe Mike will work with you on that.
Yep.
Okay. You good, Chris?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Still trying to figure out this.
All right, so I make that motion. Do I have a second? I'll second. You got a motion, a second, further discussion? If none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
All right.
Thank you for coming out.
Yeah.
So the
Well, game's over.
is fully enclosed. It's part of the house.
The house bridge, yeah,
Yeah.
there's like the bridge that comes down the path.
No, no,
And
this
then
one.
there's, yeah, that's part of the.
And the dry creek that goes under it. Oh, that's
all the ground rocks and.
Could be a spec house, Chris. You could buy it, move it to
I don't
town.
expect much water. to
All right,
That's cool. Good job.
Thank you, guys.
So thank you, sir.
all right, last, but far from least is 24025 Andrew Street. Units property 3963 County Route 16. Site plan approval, tear down a shed, connect to an existing single family residence. And then construct a new addition to the house. We got John. How are you doing tonight, John? Thanks for waiting.
Yeah, no problem. How are you?
Good. You want to tell us a little bit about what Mr. Straight wants to do out there?
Yeah, so it's pretty simple, really. So the existing shed there, it's like 5 foot wide by 24 foot long, I think. He stores canoes, kayaks, like other water use items in it. And he's just looking to build a bigger structure. So he's taking the shed down, and it's also going to allow him to, he wants to rebuild the retaining wall that's behind that shed. So he's going to do the new retaining wall, new shed, and then new stairs coming down from the road to the brick patio there. It's all built over a brick patio currently, so we're not in any impervious areas with the new structure. we're gonna be he did have some drainage problems with the front yard. He had a low spot in his yard, so there was some pooling of water. So we're regrading the front yard a little bit to alleviate some of that. Other than that, we're for landscaping, he does have a lot of planters and stuff along the lakeside. But nothing that's really screening. So we are adding a tree. We're removing some mulched area, adding a tree, and some other shrub type plantings to add some screening. It is a wooded lot to the north, directly to the north. So we get screening from that as well. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty much about it. Just a new shed structure, some grading, new retaining wall, and new stairs. So yeah.
Okay. Board, any questions?
Let's go before ECB, any comments? So I think with that in mind, I know there's removal of a tree that needs to take place for that. So it looks like, is it just the single tree?
Yeah, just that single tree in the front there. Yeah, unfortunately.
And then if you could just advise the homeowner that as they replace that they use native species to the area?
Yeah, of course. That should be mentioned on our landscape plan.
I didn't see it, but maybe it was there.
Okay, yeah, we'll double check.
Yeah, your shoreline guidelines, there's a landscape. I know we talked about a PRC.
We did, okay. I just didn't see it.
About putting something back there to sort of block the back of the new addition from the lake.
You go up one, Kim. Please. Okay. Do you show an area disturbance? I can't tell on this.
Yeah, we do. It's a line that's got LOD dashed into it. It's if you zoom in, it's there. It's yeah, I went with I don't like the line type I used here, but anyways.
Always use color codes.
And these, do you have
Yeah, I should
the-
color coordinate it.
do you have the protection from I forget what it's called, the black fencing or whatever protection?
Silt
Against
fence?
Thank you, silt fence, yeah. Is that there? I don't see it there.
Yeah, we got some to the east of the brick patio there, just to catch anything that's coming off.
Well, you're gonna regrade, if you regrade the lawn, wouldn't it go all the way across the lawn, right?
No, because we're regrading the lawn to a low area. So we
It'll still be disturbed.
yeah, but the disturbance wouldn't be running off. This disturbance would be going to the low area, which is where it's supposed to go. I mean, if you want, we could add some silt fence up in the top of the yard. That's fine.
There's no limit of disturbance line on the site plan.
I didn't think so.
Yeah, if you zoom in there, it says LOD. It's a bit hard to see.
No, I mean, they zoomed in. Where?
Yeah, so if you zoom in, like for example, like that rectangle and circle up top there. Yeah, if you zoom in right there, right where it says approximate limits of disturbance, it's got an arrow pointing to it.
Yeah, in the road. 1,400 square feet. You got this topsoil stockpile there.
Yeah, there's a line there that's dashed LOD. That's limits of disturbance.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah, I don't like that line type.
That's in the design basis. Yep.
Yeah, they're pretty busy up there.
Yeah.
Well, I
No,
think
it's definitely in there though, and just.
See you in a house. So, March 21st.
So the mean high water is the break wall.
Yeah, yep, that's right. It's
So
it's
it
bit of an
doesn't.
odd with this property, like cuts across in the corner in the would that be the northeast corner there?
Yeah. But there's no high water on the property itself, okay.
No, no.
Gotcha. Okay, let's talk a little bit about that 20-inch pipe. It drains a catch basin, I guess, on the county road. That, I know we talked about it at PRC, it is not subject to any type of easement or maintenance responsibility, it's sort of an orphan pipe.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of. There's no easement or maintenance responsibilities for the homeowner. And I know Lance, I think it was Lance and MRB had a comment about possibly tying in our under drain to that, directly into that pipe. We can definitely explore that option. I just was thinking that the county wouldn't want us disturbing that at all, with this, with tying in a 4-inch into that pipe to possibly mess something up. But we can certainly talk with the county and see if they are accepting of that, or if we just discharge that under drain to grade like shown.
Yeah, I think, John, this is Lance. I don't know. I don't think our camera's working.
Yeah, no, I'm talking to Black here.
Yeah, it was for consideration. I agree. I'm not totally convinced the county is going to allow anybody to touch it. Being that there's no easement there, I just made the suggestion. I think it's worth exploring because obviously closed system low versus over land system would be the preferable version. I think part 2 of that though is I don't know, based on what I see here, that what you're showing is incorrect or wrong or gonna create problems. I'm just wondering if there's a way to extend that pipe further south to get it almost around the point where you're, like, his property extends beyond the limits almost, and I guess I'm just somewhat a little bit concerned that the runoff, and I'm not thinking your daily runoff, I'm thinking the bigger events, which are problematic for everybody, but it's possible that where it is, it might undermine that area. And I'm wondering if we could just, if we extend the pipe a little bit further south, it might provide a little bit more leg room for it to get around as opposed to undermining it. It's just something to consider.
Yeah, definitely. I think you mean, do you mean to the east? South would be
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, I'm sorry. To the east. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, no
You're
worries.
exactly right. Yep. to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
east.
we'll take a look at that and see if we can come up with a better.
You might not be able to, because it might put you right on the other
Yeah.
property, but.
Yeah, my only concern is it's so tight right in there, so that was kind of the best option, was just to kind of put it right there, or else we're encroaching into the.
In other terms, you could armor that outfall a little bit more, just to provide a little bit more stabilization to that area to prevent it from, potentially undermining that area. Again, I think this is fairly minor. I don't think it's just the what if, and I'm wondering if there's something more that we could be done, that's all.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, sounds good. We'll take a look there. Definitely, Lance.
I know it came up at PRC and I guess it's still an issue. Were you able to determine where the sanitary sewer and water service lines are from the house?
Oh, yeah, we gotta, yeah, I think, Jim, is it Jim? Yeah,
Look,
commented.
yeah, he was concerned about showing the main too. So you got the main that runs parallel with the road, and then you've got the service lines, the water service, and I guess the sanitary. It could be crossing where your stockpile is and where you're doing that cutout to front of the wall there. So it's good to know where they are. You don't want to find out the hard way.
Yeah, definitely. We'll add those in for sure.
I did, just for the board, I did add a condition to reflect that water and sewer superintendent comments are gonna be addressed. For your considerations.
Is the board comfortable with the shoreline guidelines statement?
I think they put it there.
I mean, we're losing a tree in front. You wanna ask for a tree and for replacement? I think it's.
I think Mark
like
just
that.
said that,
There's
they're
no-
gonna replace the tree.
Oh, okay,
He requested the tree be replaced by
okay.
local.
Doesn't show on the plan though, right?
No.
It does not show in the plan.
Okay, well then we just have to make sure it's a condition. And the replacement tree for the weapons being taken down. County had anything they were concerned about was getting a highway permit, as was the public works department. You're not doing any work in the right of way, right, John?
Yeah, no, they just mentioned they were worried about people parking in the right of way, the construction guys, so. Yeah, applicant will fill out the necessary permits for that.
Okay. Anybody in the audience? Anybody left in the audience? Okay. With that, the case, let's we're ready to go.
Ready?
Okay. Somebody want to make a motion to bundle the seeker and the site plan?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to do a bundle, seek a resolution with a type 2 action and a site plan approval. Sorry. Single stage site plan approval at 6963 County Road 16 CPN 24-025. Approval with so it's still.
I have 8, so that's the 6th as written. The 7th was adding the town highway and water superintendent comments to be addressed prior to signatures, which is typical, I just didn't add it. And then the 8th one was the reference about the tree replacement. The plans are gonna be updated to identify a new tree location to replace them on the river.
With the 8.
Very good.
I'll second.
Okay, motion second. No further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, John, good to see you.
So, no.
Thanks for hanging on. You can't see us, but we can see you.
It's a little bit of an odd feeling, but yeah.
Blind leading the blind. All
Thanks
right, good night.
for your time, guys. Yeah.
Get minutes from back on April 9th that Corinne did a very nice job on. Do we have any further corrections, additions beyond what was posted? If not, take a motion.
So moved.
Okay, a motion second. I'll second. Scott second. Motion Bob, second Scott. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Thank you again, Curry. No releases. Training, we're into April.
Can you resend something, Kim? Can you resend a training out, everybody? Thank you.
Scott, do you want to report on Saratoga at all? Anything of any interest stood out?
Well, you know, the attorney talking about, difficult and attorney,
Yeah, I want to take it with a grain of salt.
Dealing with situations like we had tonight, just,
Case study.
how to handle difficult, combative applicants.
What was the suggestion?
Take them to dinner.
Take them to dinner.
Okay,
Share a meeting.
Who came up with
Well,
that?
I'm thinking about that.
Strike that.
well, you know what?
That was you, right?
Yeah.
You were suggesting.
It was me. No, that's a good suggestion. This is too far done, but
Not taking things personally. Don't take things personally. We're here to represent the town, we're here to represent the business, there's all in the common ground you can find. And then just good. Case law, county planning, county referrals. Housing, affordable housing. I've got some stuff for me. Taking some old buildings and rehabbing.
Short-term rentals, anything on short-term
I
rentals?
don't really get it that too much.
I don't think it's-
Accessory dwelling.
It's next year.
But, you know, it's not a unique from the White House, housing report. I haven't read it yet, so if they refer to that, it's very interesting, some of the stats they provided.
Oh, yeah.
Housing has doubled since late 2020. Housing costs, you know, income is not even double, you know, so we're bad. The people that are, who have taken the high end housing units now in the mid and the mid and the long housing.
Okay.
So it's a trickle down, but it works good.
Okay, good. Glad you got something.
Dave Plant,
Oh, he's the president.
he is the president, he moved, he lived in Manchester, right? So he was, mentioned Bob specifically. and he's
Oh, boy.
He's the Adirondack Parks. Like. Director, associate director.
Oh, so he's not with that consultant
No.
anymore, no.
Yeah.
Good. He's a nice guy.
Nice
yeah.
guy. Yeah.
Very nice.
That's a very good thing about Canandaigua.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to a GIS, Learn at Lunch. Town of Lee, New York.
Lee.
Lee, yeah. How they use GIS, for everything. So I'm always having an interest in GIS. It's- Get a lot of information in one location. Okay, anything else? Hey, Kim, glad you're back, feeling better. And Mark, glad you showed up in person, it's good to see you. Okay, all right, who's gonna? we're
On
not-
behalf of Amanda.
We don't have, we'll have to keep the meeting open. Oh, man.
She's thinking about. it
Fat
right now,
chance.
and I moved at a late 8:11 for adjournment.
All right. Second. Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.